Good morning, everyone. My name is Mark Chasmin. I am Director of Investor Relations of Nouveau Monde Graphite. I am pleased to welcome you today to the call highlighting the Memorandum of Understanding between Nouveau Monde Graphite, Mitsui, and Panasonic Energy, along with a $50 million US investment in the corporation by Mitsui, Pallinghurst and Investissement Québec. During this call, we will, amongst others, discuss our business outlook and make forward-looking statements. Any such forward-looking statements are pursuant to and within the meaning of the safe harbor provisions of applicable securities laws in Canada and the United States of America. The statements made today are based on current expectations of management regarding future events and operating performance. They are not guarantees of any future performance or results and should not be seen as such. All forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially from those statements. These risks and uncertainties are discussed and outlined in our continuous disclosure documents filed in compliance with applicable securities laws, and it is the responsibility of each and every investor to be aware of them and to consider them in any investment decision. Before I turn the conference to Eric, take note that although we will be taking questions from the public, that priority will be given to sell-side analysts. Also, as a reminder to all, please make sure you use the Q&A function for any of your questions. It is only once the questions of analysts are answered that we will accept those of others. For media inquiries, we would invite you to contact Julie Paquet, VP of ESG and Communications, after the call. À tous nos auditeurs francophones, merci de votre présence. Un petit mot pour vous rappeler que bien que la présentation d'aujourd'hui sera en anglais, que nous prendrons les questions en français et en anglais. Cependant, la priorité sera accordée aux analystes financiers et ce n'est qu'après leurs questions que nous répondrons à celles du grand public. Je passe la parole à Eric, our President and CEO. Eric, please.
Merci beaucoup, Marc. So welcome, everyone. Thank you very much to be there today. The whole team and myself are super proud to announce what we believe to be a very transformative agreement that should propel the growth of NMG in the future. So with me today, there will be, I will start with the transaction summary and I will review the business strategy of NMG. Afterward, our CFO, Charles Olivier, will introduce some financial consideration of the transaction. Then Patrice Boulanger, our VP Sales and Marketing, will discuss Offtake and the various commercial consideration. And we will end with Bernard Perron, our COO, to explain the next operational steps and what needs to be done for FID. And then we'll complete with a Q&A with Julie. Julie Paquet will handle the Q&A section. So first of all, the agreement itself, there's three primary agreements. First of all, an offtake agreement, an MOU with Panasonic, between NMG and Panasonic. So Panasonic is one of the most reputable and prestigious cell maker in the world, the largest in North America. They are interested to purchase a significant portion of what we intend to produce in Bécancour, right here in Quebec in North America. So that's the first agreement. The second agreement, the framework agreement, it's between NMG, Panasonic, and Mitsui. Mitsui, we will do an optimization of our current feasibility study to make sure that we fulfill all the needs of Panasonic and their offtake agreement, and we update our master schedule. We are optimizing our cost structure for that specific request that we have. And then an important one, the convertible note agreement. So Mitsui, alongside our long-term investors, Pallinghurst and Investissement Québec, are making a substantial investment for a total of $50 million US to finance the first next milestones that we have to accomplish in the near future. So for the attendees that are new to the Nouveau Monde story, so NMG is currently developing what is the largest and most advanced natural graphite operation in the Western world. We're located all in Quebec, Canada. So both projects, the Matawinie Mine is 2 hours north of Montreal, where we're planning to produce over 100,000 tons per annum at the phase 2. And then most of that production will be transformed into battery material in Bécancour, which is about an hour, 30 minutes northeast of Montreal. So that's really having a fully vertically integrated project. It is what we are providing to the market. So one key fundamental thing that we can provide the customer is, as I've mentioned, from ore to cell maker, all controlled in a relatively short radius of 150 kilometers, providing cost resilient material, providing lot by lot consistency, security of supply, all located here in North America. So this is what we're providing the market. Obviously, to do that, we need a lot of expertise to go all the way from mining to producing an advanced material like anode material. We are now over 100 employees, many engineers, many PhDs. We have interaction, collaboration with a lot of R&D centers here in Quebec and the universities, and we have the chance to be working with world-class institutions, making sure we develop the excellence needed to supply tier 1 cell maker. So we always one key point of our strategy to have designed our project in phases. So since 2018, we are operating a phase 1 demonstration plant in Saint-Michel-des-Saints, and since 18 months now in Bécancour as well. So that phase 1 is very important. We have invested north of $100 million to be able to demonstrate at scale our processes, develop our expertise, and be able to host our customer on site and make sure that we develop the right samples that comes from processes that are as close as possible to the phase 2. So having the phase 1 is key at having the announced partnership today, demonstrating that we can be very effective at producing that material. So the phase 2 itself, Charles Olivier, our CFO, will discuss more in detail about the financial of the phase 2. And as much important as the phase 1 and phase 2 is the phase 3. So we need to demonstrate to our customer that we have the same vision they have. They want to grow, so should we grow as well? So that's what we're doing. We have made an agreement a few months ago with Mason Graphite to develop the Lac Guéret project. You should expect in the upcoming months some results of that important work that we're doing for phase 3 as well. So something also very important that we want to point out, part of our vision is to develop our project with the lowest carbon footprint of the industry. And it is a fundamental point as well for Panasonic. It's only when supplier and customer are fully aligned at reduction of carbon that we can really make changes. And we would like to thank you very much, Panasonic, for that leadership. And they are constantly repeating that to their own stakeholders. So now we demonstrate that this is very important for the future of that industry to develop low carbon material. And as much important for both our new partners from Japan is developing our project with the highest standard possible on ESG in partnership with the local community and First Nation. And on that matter, we would like to say a special thank you to our Atikamekw First Nation to host us on the Nitaskinan on the Matawinie Mine, and also the Abenaki First Nation that are hosting us on their Nkina in Bécancour. So thank you for hosting us there, and that we would like to emphasize that this is very important for all our new partners, and they share the same vision that we have at NMG and also all our shareholders. So Charles, on that, I will end to you the next slides.
Good, thank you, Eric, and hi everyone. Let me open by saying that I'm very pleased with the announcement we made this morning. Today, I'll be presenting some of the key terms of the private placement, the financial highlights of our integrated phase 2 or to anode material business plan, and an update on our different project finance initiative. First, the private placement announced this morning is a $50 million unsecured convertible note. Mitsui is subscribing to 50% of this amount, while Investissement Québec and Pallinghurst are subscribing to 25% respectively. The interest rate on the note shall be the highest of 6% or the 90-day SOFR rate plus 4% decided at each calendar quarter. While this financial instrument have a 3-year maturity, there's some automatic conversion and redemption mechanism when NMG shall proceed with the final investment decision. The use of proceeds will be used ahead of FID to further de-risk the NMG business plan by allowing us to increase the maturity level of the engineering while also completing the qualification process with Panasonic by operating our phase 1 plant. Moving to our phase 2, 43-101 economic highlights that was published in August 2022. The initial capital cost for the Matawinie Mine is expected to be $481 million. For the Bécancour plant, the initial capital cost is expected to be $923 million, bringing the total initial capital cost to $1.4 billion. On the revenue side, the Matawinie Mine is expected to have yearly sales from flake graphite sold to third party of $93 million. The Bécancour site shall generate $500 million, coming in majority from the active anode material product line. The combined operating expenses for both sites is projected to be $195 million per year. Going into the feasibility matrix, the CapEx, OpEx, and the sales assumption translate into strong project economics for both the Matawinie Mine and the Bécancour plant. From a return perspective, we are expecting a 21% after-tax internal rate of return. Looking to other metrics, the integrated project expect an after-tax net present value at 8% of $1.6 billion and also deliver an average of $400 million of EBITDA once at steady state. Moving to project finance update, we are progressing at a steady pace since the appointment of Société Générale as a mandated lead arranger on our potential senior debt facility. During the first half of 2022, we have received expression of interest from Euler Hermes and Export Development Canada. In both cases, we have started the formal application process in order to obtain credit approval in the upcoming months. As part of our overall project finance strategy, we are seeking less expensive governmental funding to support our phase 2. Adding a new strategic investor like Mitsui shall be value accretive to NMG. In the next few weeks and months, NMG will work alongside Mitsui, Pallinghurst, and Investissement Québec to put all the winning conditions in place, such as adding a definitive offtake agreement with Panasonic. Finally, we're also engaging discussion with other key stakeholders that can play an important role in the project finance in the form of debt, equities, or subsidies. With that, I'll turn it to Patrice Boulanger, our Vice President, Sales, Marketing, and Business Development, to go over some of the commercial aspect of the transaction.
What an amazing news that we have today to announce that we're teaming up with the largest cell maker in America that has clearly established itself as a tier 1 quality supplier for the EV OEMs. As this is not sufficient, Panasonic has also announced recently an expansion plan in America to support this exponential growth that we see in the EV demand, in which Nouveau Monde will play a key role. For NMG and Panasonic, this partnership also will align our mutual core values, strongly guided by our ESG standards and our low carbon footprint intent and strives. Mitsui, instrumental to this transaction, was a renowned global trading investment company that will play an important role in both financing and marketing activities of NMG. Their strong portfolio in mineral and metal and energy sector leads the way now into lithium-ion battery raw material initiatives. Alongside with NMG and Panasonic, following our framework agreement, we will define all winning conditions for a successful financing and final investment decision. On this slide, we will show you now the material throughput that Nouveau Monde intends to have through their various steps. So to start with, we will have concentrate that we will sell into established traditional markets. As well as in Bécancour, we aim at producing active anode material. And this is where the transaction today fits in. This is where Panasonic will be acquiring a significant portion of our lithium anode, active anode material. Also, we will have other products because Nouveau Monde really aims at having a diversified portfolio of customers. So we're going to be also in purified jumbo flakes and also fine products which have special niche application. Nouveau Monde's pipeline is completely saturated. We have currently many qualified A sample in our portfolio, mainly for car manufacturers and LIB manufacturers. The pipeline consists of most North American and American OEMs, which have assets in North America. Recently, the Inflation Reduction Act has brought even more interest towards Nouveau Monde, basically because of our fully vertically integrated aspect of business. The market recently values even more and more geopolitical stability sources and secured and controlled raw material sources for their graphite supply. This is becoming more and more important, not only for natural graphite, but also for synthetic graphite. Currently, the RFQs NSMG is receiving are showing significantly larger volume, which is really triggering our next phase, which is the exploitation of our Lac Guéret mining operation. So through this announcement that we've made earlier this summer, MMG aims at offering to its customer additional volume based on demand that will really fit the growth mode of most of the OEMs and lithium-ion battery OEMs that we are dealing with. Currently, we're just at the genesis of this growth mode, but as you will see, this will become exponential towards the year 2026 and beyond. And this is where Nouveau Monde is positioning itself now. We want to make sure that we can embrace this growth and be able to follow our major customers. Lac Guéret will be developed in a strategic base, strictly based on offtake agreement that are fulfilling the lithium-ion battery material. For those who are questioning the growth mode, we wanted to show you also some marketing perspective offered by Benchmark Mineral, in which it shows that there will be a clear deficit in flake graphite starting in 2028, which coincides roughly with when the Lac Guéret project can be launched. And as you can see beyond, there will be a clear deficit growing and growing simply because there will not be enough mining project launch at the same time to fulfill the increasing demand. On a more theoretical point of view, you can see also the anode evolution, which is currently mainly driven by synthetic graphite, but based on their marketing initiatives and perspective, they can see this proportion changing in favor of natural graphite as time goes. So both of them are really supporting an exponential growth for natural graphite for the outer years for the lithium-ion battery material. So on this, I will let Bernard explain our construction plan to reach these goals.
Thank you very much, Patrice, and good morning, everyone. So with today's announcement, we're quickly moving toward the development of our phase 2. A lot of work has been done and is currently underway, but we have a lot to deliver ahead of FID. So over the next few months, we'll concentrate our efforts on updating our master schedule and our master budget, while continue developing our construction strategy, and of course, assemble our construction team so we're all ready to go. As you can see, a lot of work has already been done at the Matawinie Mine. To date, we've completed the construction of an 8-kilometer access road and ensured that all of our environmental protection measures required at this stage of development are in place and ahead of construction. In addition to the physical work in the field, we also have advanced our detailed engineering, which is actually currently at 68%, so quite a bit of work. So over the next few months, we're going to keep advancing that engineering as well as securing the procurement of some major key equipment. We'll continue to advance the preparatory work in the field and select our main construction contractors so that we're all ready to start significant construction work at FID. Meanwhile, at our second transformation plant in Bécancour, we had already completed our preliminary engineering to support the feasibility study issued this summer. So we now have to optimize that plant to the requirements and specifications of our customer, Panasonic. We're also fine-tune our processes, which will allow us to initiate our detailed engineering, select our major equipment, and all of this to, as well, support a start of construction on this site with the final investment decision. You can see there a rendering of our future Bécancour Battery Material Plant. Gives you a good sense of all the work that's already been done on the engineering front and what it would look like when construction is completed. The next slides gives you a sense of the timeline of the project. As you can see, we'll focus on all the preliminary work that I described above over the next few months so that we can initiate construction at FID. We're currently evaluating that the project will take approximately 28 months of construction before we start production at Matawinie and Bécancour. But as I mentioned before, we need to update that schedule to match the requirements of our customer and our clients. So that summarizes the phase 2 work, and I'll now pass it back to Eric for our last slide.
Thank you, gentlemen. A great job. Keep it up. That's fantastic to see it progressing. So very busy few months ahead of us. So you see in green today, we are announcing like MOU on offtake agreement. It's just the start of the work. It's not the champagne yet. So the next few steps is to deliver FID and project financing. You should expect as well some work around the phase 3, as we've mentioned, a preliminary economic assessment on Lac Guéret, and then construction and start of the mine as with the schedule that Bernard suggested. So a lot of work ahead of us. So on that, Julie, we are ready for the Q&A session.
Wonderful. So I invite the participants to use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. You can submit questions and we'll take the time to go through them and provide answers. Pour les participants francophones, vous êtes les bienvenus pour inscrire vos questions en français dans le module de questions-réponses au bas de l'écran. On prendra la peine de répondre en français aux participants qui le désirent. Alors, with that, I'll wait to see what kind of questions pop up. Wow, looks like a very complete presentation. Okay, here we go. All right, so first question is regarding the need for additional investment or share offerings, if that will be required through the end of the year to support following activities.
You want to take it, Charles?
Yeah, thanks, Eric. So, with regards to the cash to operate to FID, so with this transaction of $50 million US announced today, it's giving us enough runway to go up to FID. So that's really positive, and we might not go and offer additional share before FID.
All right. Now, a question regarding the non-binding MOU and the requirements to get to a definitive deal. So if somebody could cover perhaps the steps that will follow.
Yes, maybe I can take it. So first step first, is to make sure we understand the specification and we can deliver the product. That's what we've done in over a year now, exchanging product with with Panasonic. So the next step is really developing together an optimized project for the specific product that we need to produce and at the quantity and at the time. And then we will negotiate pricing mechanism that satisfy the lender. Will bring our new partners to the table with the different financial stakeholder that we have to make sure we have a final agreement that supports the project financing. So that's like a group effort, and we wanted to have a first step where we work together with an investment with a significant financial contribution. That's what we have now. So we are ready to do the work needed to proceed with project financing and FID in the upcoming quarters.
All right. So following up on the project financing, a question regarding JACMEC, if we are working with Japanese organizations for low-cost debt funding as part of our financing model.
Yes, actually, we're going next week in Japan. So Charles, Pat, and myself. So now that we have finished this agreement overnight, next step is to make sure we are introduced to the proper other Japanese participant that could support the project. So without going in the specifics of JACMEC or specific names like that, this is our intention to see the various options available in Japan that could support both Panasonic and Mitsui in their growth phase in America.
Great. And so could you perhaps expand on why we chose Panasonic and Mitsui and give a sense of what the other potential partners were?
Yeah, for sure. Us, we have enough experience now at running our demonstration plant and designing our project to understand that it's important to work with the best of the best. So working with the tier one cell maker who have a lot of experience like Panasonic is very good for us to train the team. And it's not about only an investment and a financial commitment. It's about interaction with both technical team that are very productive, very good for us to make sure we deliver a product all the time on specs with the highest quality possible. So Panasonic, don't need introduction, and they understand what it needs to have a good supplier. They're willing to develop this, and we share the same vision as I've mentioned on carbon reduction and on partnership and high ESG standards. So it ticks all the boxes that we needed to support the project financing. So that's the kind of partner we want to work with.
Wonderful. Now, in terms of the MOU for the offtake, does it entail coated or uncoated material?
Obviously, we cannot go in the details of the specification of our customers. So we will work in the upcoming months optimizing the feasibility study and make sure that we have the similar economics that we have currently in our feasibility study, but we cannot really comment on the details of the specification.
All right, going back to project financing, we have a question here regarding the possibility to tap into some of the funding available in the US, whether it's the Department of Energy or other infrastructure bill grants that have been announced recently.
Yeah, there are, like we were glad to see yesterday, the American government clearly showing its support for the supply chain. This is, Panasonic is buying most likely the production for the cell plant going in the US. So that's options that we will be evaluating. But also in Canada, we do have a lot of program in place like Strategic Innovation Fund, and we are already supported by the Quebec government and by EDC in our project financing in Canada. So we do have a lot of support in Canada to tap in, but we'll be very interactive with the American counterpart to see what can be available for a Canadian supplier.
All right, we have two questions here regarding the potential contribution of Panasonic and Mitsui to process development at our current plant for purification or coating. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, so as I've mentioned, this is as much important as the money is to provide the technical support and the work ahead of us. So the framework agreement that we have discussed That's the goal, is really to include the Japanese partners into the development of the project and make sure that the way we have designed it is the way that they would like it to be. So sharing all their requirement also, it's not only a qualifying product, it's qualifying an organization, making sure we have all the ISO 9001 and all the others, IATF and all the different QA/QC that needs to be implemented. So that's key, to work with partners who exactly know how to how they want things, you know.
All right. Now, going back to the financial model, can you comment perhaps on the pricing assumption for graphite and how it compares with others in the market?
Sure. Charles?
Yeah, so with regards to the anode material, the pricing we have in the financial model is around $8,700 for primary anode material. With regards to comparison to other projects or even China today, you know, if we were to compare this on a like-for-like basis, assuming a lending product in North America, we are able to offer competitive pricing. We have the advantage of easy logistic to anywhere in North America. And also one thing is also the lead time to get the material within those facilities, also a great advantage that we can offer. Also, you know, tariff over anode material in the US also an important piece, and alongside the low carbon footprint that our material is adding versus competitors. So when we compare apple to apple, we are able to offer a competitive pricing.
All right, now regarding the Panasonic specs, is there a specific product that is targeted, or are they open to different options? And what can NMG provide in that regard?
Yes, no, the good thing is they do have a very specific request for us that we cannot share, but that's a big advantage to have a customer who knows exactly why and what they want and why they want it this way. So, but we won't go in more detail on the specifics.
All right. Now we have a question both in French and in English, so perhaps we can have a bilingual answer on this one. Question is, how long before we can get to a definitive offtake and FID? Alors, combien de temps ça prendra pour qu'on arrive à l'offtake définitif et la décision d'investissement définitive?
Je peux commencer en français. Le plus important pour nous, il y a deux travails qui sont faits en parallèle. Il y a le travail dans notre phase 1, qui est de produire les échantillons puis la qualification des produits nécessaires qui va continuer pour la prochaine année. Puis en parallèle, c'est le financement de la phase 2 pour débuter la construction. Fait à quel moment qu'on va avoir l'entente définitive pour être capable de supporter le financement de projet, ben, il faut établir les bonnes conditions gagnantes. Combien de temps ça va prendre? Ça va vraiment dépendre des conditions de marché, ça va dépendre de qu'est-ce qu'on va livrer comme coût de projet, coût d'opération, puis d'économie globale. Fait qu'il faut établir ensemble un mécanisme de prix qui va satisfaire autant les porteurs d'équité, les actionnaires comme tels, que ceux qui font de la dette, qui ont besoin de certitude. Fait que ça prend une certitude en plus d'un upside qui va permettre aux investisseurs de voir aussi, de participer à la hausse des prix qui est anticipée dans le futur. Do you want to translate in English?
No, you do that.
I do that, okay. So yeah, there's two work streams that are as much important, so it's difficult to put a precise timing into that. First of all, we need to keep qualifying the product and the organization. We need to do the B sampling and the C sampling ahead of us in the upcoming year, I would say. And in parallel to that, as much important, it's to start the construction. So, and now the good thing is most of the customers, they want a product in 2025. So, and everybody is waiting for an electric car in the US. So we have like a deadline that is clear where we need to deliver the product. So if we backtrack that, we need to work in the upcoming months to have all the winning conditions to proceed with project financing. So we need to deliver the master schedule, the pricing mechanism that will support both the equity holder in terms of upside and certainty for the debt provider that we're talking to. So, we're working as hard as possible to do it in a timely manner, but we need all those conditions to be favorable to proceed.
All right, so we have a participant here who's really looking at growth. I like it. So the question is whether our phase 2 plant in Bécancour can accommodate some expansion in the building or outside of on the land, and if a new building would be required to accommodate for phase 3 La Guérette.
I don't want to throw that question to you, Bernard, but if you have an answer, that would be good, but it was not part of the scope of the feasibility study this summer. However, it's clear that the land, we're not using half of the land size. There's, a lot of electricity available. There's a lot of all the infrastructure utilities that we need can be easily expanded there, but we would need more buildings and more capex, obviously, if we want to support an expansion phase. But, we always said that there's give or take, we could easily double what we have now. In my view, I'm just a geologist and I'm looking at our chief of operations to see if he agrees.
There is not much to add, Eric. You answered perfectly. So it's exactly the case. So we've got lots of room to expand. This first phase, we're going to focus on on delivering what needs to be delivered as part of phase 2. And we have plenty of space to expand beyond that.
All right, now a question regarding market dynamics. If we could get some perspective in terms of graphite supply and demand and pricing outlook for the next year.
Yes, Patrice, maybe Patrice, you can cover this one.
I can do this, no problem. So the current supply and demand is evolving, as you can imagine. So currently, especially on the graphite side, the sourcing is mainly done out of China. With the current regulation being changing in North America, and some geopolitical risk arising for specific region on Earth, the marketing and the demand will continue to grow, but the supply become constrained and become scarce in different parts of the world because there are some limitation now driven by legislation. So what's important to look is really what's going to happen mid to long term. Short term, there will be incidents that will arise, but since most graphite players do not have yet the capacity to fill the pipeline, it's going to be mainly driven by China for the time being. But once we get into the 2024, 2025, 2026, this is where we're going to see more Western world supply taking place. And this will have a significant impact on supply and also pricing strategy. So that's the visibility that we have. And currently our strategy is really to look at how the market's going to be in 2025 and beyond. And this is where we position ourselves.
Great. So with that, we've covered all questions. I'll leave it open for perhaps an extra minute or two if additional questions do pop in. I'll remind people that will remain available. You can reach out to Mark following the call if you have follow-up questions. We'll also upload a recording of the presentation to our YouTube channels if you want to catch up or if you want to share with colleagues. And we got another one in the meantime. A question regarding Panasonic's potential financial contribution at FID, and if it's something that can be discussed and disclosed at this time.
I wish I could, but no, it's not something we can openly discuss, but it will be part of the whole package, I guess, to support the project.
All right, another good one here. We've talked quite a bit about Panasonic. What will be Mitsui's role in the partnership?
Mm-hmm. Mitsui and Panasonic are they offer two different functions to our project. Panasonic is an end user producing cells, so that's the technical support and the purchase of the product. Mitsui is a global trading house. They have many different customers. They can support not only on the anode material, but also other materials as well. They offer logistics, a lot of different services that we will be able to see how we can use these things to make sure that we support our customer the best possible. And also Mitsui is a renowned financial investors in most of the project, and they can provide the needed support. So for us, like the partnership between those two institutions is key. It's great to work with two partners who knows each other and are embracing our vision of developing the supply chain in America. And we're really fortunate to have those big organizations who would like to work with us. So that's a great alignment of stars.
All right. Now, a question regarding construction. What's the implication on the construction timeline if the plant was to not include the coating facilities, so to produce uncoated material?
Bernard?
Yeah, so go ahead, Eric.
No, go ahead. I think, it will be part of the work we'll do in the upcoming months to update the schedule, but, I leave it to you.
That's exactly it. We have to take a look at the exact specifications that are required by our client and modify the engineering that has been done to optimize it all. And then out of that will come out an updated capital, an updated schedule. So that's exactly the work that we're going to do over the next few months.
All right, a governance question now. So we have two board members that have left the company at the end of their term in the spring. So a question regarding the possibility for a Japanese executive to perhaps join the board of directors.
Yeah, part of the investment from Mitsui, there's also an investment right agreement. So depending on various conditions, like if the Mitsui can join the board once they reach a certain threshold in shareholding. So yes, that's our intention. So by experience, it's always good to have at the board level representative of the shareholding and make sure that everybody that has interest in the project and all the stakeholders have a representation at the board level where the decisions are taken. So we are welcoming that situation.
Great. So with that, I think that we've completed the briefing this morning. I hope it was informative. And again, we'll remain available to follow up if you have any additional questions after today.
Excellent. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
À bientôt.